Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Youth Parliament on this occasion of World Commonwealth Day. The Cayman Islands Legislative Assembly annually celebrate our youth because we recognize them as our future leaders. So this is an important day as we bring to fruition this dynamic exercise as a means of sharing our experience, knowledge, and expertise in grooming our young people to one day take our places. Significantly, it is also a milestone in the island's youth calendar of activities each year since participation.
A very pleasant good morning and welcome to our youth parliamentarians, their families, friends, and supporters as we celebrate another Commonwealth Day and the contributions of our young parliamentarians. Today I speak to our potential young leaders because you are here on this day. You show great promise for the future of these beloved islands. You have taken interest in the politics of the Cayman Islands, and for that I'm not only thankful, but I'm very grateful. I know it seems like we're living in troubling times. Here at home, we experienced the largest earthquake we have ever known in January. Our country has been put on the financial blacklist, and the world is worried about the spread of coronavirus. And everyone in these halls here today knows about the landfill fire as it continues to burn. But I am not here to preach doom and gloom, as some would, but my message is about hope. Hope for the future of the Cayman Islands, because young people like you here. As I look at your bright and hopeful faces, I am reminded of a relay race. At some point in that not too distant future, the elders of this house, and I include myself, will be passing the baton along to some of you, just as the baton was passed to me 16 years ago. The world and these islands are indeed much different places than when I first took my seat in this honorable house. For starters, there are more people resident in our islands than ever before, close to 70,000 in my humble estimation. When our vestrymen created our first written constitution in 1959, 60 years ago, there were only about 8,500 people who called these islands home. But within those 60 years, we have accomplished much, building the country we all enjoy today, and laying the foundation for your generation and those that come behind you to make improvements as they are realized and needed. In those 60 years, women have been given the right to vote and to stand for election. Many laws have been passed that make us one of the most modern and progressive small countries in the world, boasting of a well-run financial services industry and a tourism product that is second to none. We open our arms to those who would come and help us develop our country and live peacefully with more than 130 nationalities. At Youth Parliament last year, our world was also beset by strife and worries about trade wars between the United States, China, President Trump's wall to keep immigrants from going out of Mexico into the United States, an economic, social, and political crisis all over the world. Not much has changed, so this is the world you have inherited. President Ronald Reagan, and I quote, "Each generation goes farther than the generation preceding it because it stands on the shoulders of that generation." You will have opportunities beyond anything we've ever known, and that's been true for every generation. It was of mine, and it will be of yours. But as we pass the baton to you, we do so knowing your concerns about your future economic prospects, climate change, and environment, to name a few. It is because you are thinkers and vocal about matters that I'm confident in the future of these islands. You care about the things that are important and sustainable, things that will allow this country to endure not just for the next generation, but for those to come. You are here today to build leadership skills, knowledge, and understanding of the political process. The bills you will debate today will allow you to articulate what really moves you in this time and space. Some of you have been here before, and I trust your knowledge and experience will be of benefit to those who are new to these chambers. Your experience here today and the work you have done over the past months preparing you for the leadership roles, I am certain each one you will take. If not here in this legislative assembly, soon to be called our parliament, then certainly in Caymanian society. Your participation here today shows that we depart this honorable house, we will be replaced by those of you who have our country at heart, who will be qualified with the judgment and experience to continue to lead these islands into the future. I thank you for your time and your dedication to your country. I look forward to watching each of you as you grow into your roles of leadership. As of this day, I wish you all well in your deliberations.
Debate. I am confident that you will benefit immensely from this experience, as I have over the last 20 years. I also thank those who assisted in your preparation for today, including your parents and teachers. I was elected in November 2000, and by May 2001, I had the distinct pleasure of traveling with two 16, 17-year-olds to participate in a regional youth debate in St. Kitts. Today, one is a practicing lawyer and the other is a businesswoman. Over the ensuing years, many can attest to the invaluable experience. Over the ensuing years, many young Caymanians, like yourselves, have come through the Youth Parliament arm and can attest to the invaluable experience, going on to study such disciplines as medicine, law, and more. They have all confirmed that their participation in Youth Parliament broadened their... May God bless you and guide you today, and may God bless the Cayman Islands. I thank you.
I'd like to officially open the 13th Youth Parliament with the reading of Her Majesty the Queen's Commonwealth Day message. From Buckingham Palace. On Commonwealth occasions, it is always inspiring to be reminded of the diversity of the people and countries that make up our worldwide family. We are made aware of the many associations and influences that combine through Commonwealth connection, helping us to imagine and deliver a common future. This is particularly striking when we see people from nations large and small gathering for Commonwealth Games, for meetings of Commonwealth governments, and on Commonwealth Day. Such a blend of traditions serves to make us stronger, individually and collectively, by providing the ingredients needed for social, political, and economic resilience. Throughout my life, I've had the opportunity to see and hear how membership of the Commonwealth family means so much to those living in all parts of the world. Often in places that are quite remote, advances in technology and modern media have now enabled many more people to witness and enjoy with remarkable immediacy. I'd like to officially open the 13th Youth Parliament with the reading of Her Majesty the Queen's Commonwealth Day message. From Buckingham Palace. On Commonwealth occasions, It is always inspiring to be reminded of the diversity of the people and countries that make up our worldwide family. We are made aware of the many associations and influences that combine through Commonwealth connection, helping us to imagine and deliver a common future. This is particularly striking when we see people from nations large and small gathering for Commonwealth Games, for meetings of Commonwealth governments, and on Commonwealth Day. Such a blend of traditions serves to make us stronger, individually and collectively, by providing the ingredients needed for social, political, and economic resilience. Throughout my life, I've had the opportunity to see and hear how membership of the Commonwealth family means so much to those living in all parts of the world. Often in places that are quite remote, advances in technology and modern media have now enabled many more people to witness and enjoy with remarkable immediacy, to devise new ways of working together to achieve prosperity whilst protecting our planet. As members of this very special community of this Commonwealth Day, I hope that the people and countries of the Commonwealth will be inspired by all that we share and move forward with fresh resolve to enhance the Commonwealth's influence for good in our world. Elizabeth.
Power are derived, we beseech thee, so to direct and prosper the deliberations of this 13th Youth Parliament of the Cayman Islands now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundations for the glory of thy name and for the safety, honor, and welfare of the people of these islands. Thus our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth II, Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, Charles, Prince of Wales, and all the royal family, give grace to all who exercise authority in our Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice will live daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace, now and always. Amen.
We can impede the progress of its new trends by implementing new restrictions to combat it. The points I will be talking about have to do with the lack of health signs, pointing up the dangers involved with vapes, the lack of restrictions in place for the advertisement of e-cigarettes on television and radio, and finally, the areas where the use of vapes should and shouldn't be allowed. Madam Speaker, there is a distinct lack of media warning us of the dangers of e-cigarettes. All around the world, there are signs, posters, billboards, etc., telling us about the hazard cigarettes pose to ourselves and others. Though this is true for cigarettes, there are almost no signs to warn the people of the dangers and health risks that come along as a byproduct with the use of e-cigarettes. In both the US and the UK, the promotion of any tobacco product is prohibited, though e-cigarettes are fair game for advertisers. Madam Speaker, for nearly 50 years, cigarettes have been banned from TV and radio, while e-cigarettes are not. This may cause young people to become more familiar with these products, and therefore more inclined to purchase them. These vapes can act as a gateway to the youth. According to a new study published by JAMA Network Open, teens that start vaping are nearly 3 times more likely to go on to smoke cigarettes than the peers who don't use any type of tobacco product. The solution I've come up with is to treat e-cigarettes in the same way as cigarettes when it comes to television and even radio. Madam Speaker, The advertisement of e-cigarettes has absolutely no restrictions. Although e-cigarettes have been around for more than 4 decades, vaping rates have only skyrocketed in recent years, especially amongst teens. E-cigarettes are now the most frequently used tobacco product among adolescents. Some 2.1 million high school students were e-cigarette users in 2017, far surpassing traditional cigarettes. Madam Speaker, these teens are also taking their e-cigarettes to their schools, which have several effects on them and their peers. Nicotine that is contained in the e-juices is highly addictive and can slow brain development, affect memory, concentration, learning, self-control, attention, influence mood, and increase the risk of other types of addiction as adults. I have thought of a strategy to combat this problem. It is to implement tighter restrictions in schools, and if that isn't enough, to add vape detectors to locations where the use of e-cigarettes is most prevalent, such as bathrooms. Madam Speaker, there is also a lack of prohibited areas for the use of e-cigarettes. When e-cigarettes are used, a vapor containing many harmful chemicals is released that can be harmful to yourself and those around you. But instead of banning vaping outright, I have devised a solution to this. Similar to that of traditional cigarettes, the use of vapes should be allowed in certain places. For example, in smoking designated areas, or even a new area specifically for those who use e-cigarettes. There should also be areas where e-cigarettes are restricted. Such areas should include public transport, government buildings, enclosed public spaces, playgrounds, and privately owned vehicles where minors are present. I prohibited these areas for the use of e-cigarettes because of the presence of minors and the effects of secondhand vaping. Madam Speaker, vaping has many dangers, but due to the lack of health warnings, many members of the general public are unaware of these dangers. Still, the advertisement of e-cigarettes is allowed on many TV and radio stations. The lack of restrictions may make the youth more familiar with these products, and they will be more likely to indulge, which may lead to addiction. To combat vaping, schools should implement tighter restrictions and add vape detectors.
You have half a minute left.
In common areas, vaping should not be allowed in any enclosed areas or locations where minors are present. Similar to regular cigarettes, e-cigarettes deserve to have an area where they are acceptable to use, either within a smoking area or within an area of their own. Vaping is becoming a large problem among the youth, and we need to take a stand to prevent any further damage. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Does any other member wish to speak? I recognize the Honorable Minister of Health, Environment, Culture and Housing.
Up a cigarette in your life, the opportunity to smoke something that would have nothing but a harmful effect on the body. Although vaping is a lifestyle choice, minors are not usually mentally developed to make their own lifestyle choices. Therefore, we as a government need to make it our duty to choose what is best for them. Madam Speaker, the Tobacco Law of 2008 gives a definition of a tobacco product, but it makes no mention of nicotine, the addictive component in tobacco-related products. The law is also silent on e-cigarettes. Madam Speaker, according to the United States Alcohol and Drug Foundation, nicotine is a stimulant drug that speeds up the messages that travel between the brain and the body. Once nicotine is absorbed in the body, it enters the bloodstream and can cause abnormal brain development in young people. Madam Speaker, I have a report from the ADF which states that nicotine affects everyone differently. The report contains some actual short-term side effects, such as reduced appetite, stomach cramps, and vomiting, as well as long-term effects, such as cancer, asthma, etc. Nicotine is also said to be more addictive than heroin. There is essentially no safe level of drug use, and there will always be negative effects, whether you suffer from chronic diseases or become addicted. Madam Speaker, students in the Cayman Islands are vaping. I managed to gather snapshot data from one of my units, the National Drug Council. They oversee the Cayman Islands Student Drug Use Survey biannually across public and private schools. In 2018, the results revealed the overall lifetime prevalence of e-cigarettes was 32.8%. About 1 in 3 students reported having tried cigarettes. In all but one district, more than 29% of the students have tried e-cigarettes at least once. Among students who use e-cigarettes, 42.9% reported their perception of the risk level of harm as having no risk at all. This is proof that students are not mature enough to consider and understand serious risk. If we regulate the use of e-cigarettes by adding an age limit, this will be a way of ensuring that our minors will have a chance at a normal brain development.
I do not have it with me.
Speaker for authority. Election member Cayman Rockies, please withdraw the statement there.
Elected member for Cayman Rockies, can you please withdraw your statement?
I apologize, Madam Speaker, I withdraw my statement. Despite the fact that e-liquids can be sold without propylene glycol, which is utilized for production of vapor when heated, and nicotine, there is still a grave danger in the vaporization of artificial flavors. From a simple discussion with the National Drug Council, we learned that flavorings like cinnamon, vanilla, popcorn, and mint can have deadly consequences due to the damage of white blood cells, cell death, permanent pulmonary damage, and the destruction of lining of various blood vessels. A quick search will also reveal that e-liquid containing vitamin E is the most likely culprit that caused the mysterious illness that has sickened 2,051 people and killed 40 in the U.S. Madam Speaker, WebMD states, and I quote, calling it a breakthrough, the agency says it found vitamin E acetate in all 29 samples of lung fluid from patients with vaping-related lung injury. Madam Speaker, not enough attention is being dedicated to ensuring that...
Sorry, may you call the seat, elected member for Cayman Rockies?
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Does she have the WebMD article that she's referring to?
Honorable member for Cayman Rockies, can you bring your source to the table?
I do not have my source with me.
Sit down.
Can you withdraw her statement, please?
Member for Cayman Rockies, may you please withdraw your statement?
Again, apologies. I withdraw my statement. E-liquid resale for one refill container to 10 ml, restricting e-liquids to nicotine.
Your time is up.
Madam Speaker, under the standing orders, may I be obliged to 30 seconds more?
Of course.
Madam Speaker, if the United Kingdom has implemented these regulations, why can't we? The implementation of regulations would show that this government can control and lessen the damage and repercussions that may incur with the consistent use of vaping products. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Temporary ban. Madam Speaker, earlier this year, according to the CDC, for the government members that do not know what the CDC is, it stands for Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. There were 2,561 hospitalized cases of EVALI, e-cigarette or vaping product use-associated lung injury, in the United States as of December 27, 2019. Government members, please take note. President Trump and his administration issued rules that prohibit fruit, candy, mint, and dessert flavors.
The government should not only regulate the use of e-cigarette products, but go beyond that and educate the public about the truth on the dangers of e-cigarette use. Madam Speaker, the use of e-cigarettes can also have negative effects on the brain. Nicotine disrupts the normal functioning of the brain because it acts as a critical neurotransmitter and binds to the receptors of the synapses of the brain. Over time, the brain responds by reducing the number of these important receptors and releases less neurotransmitters. At this stage, the brain needs more nicotine to maintain normal functioning. Madam Speaker, let me stress the fact that the abuse of these products leads to the brain needing more nicotine to maintain normal functioning. When these users don't get their nicotine, they feel abnormal. This then leads to not only addiction, but also cognitive and attentional defects. Why are we, as elected members, not already on top of this situation to ensure that these products are not abused? Why are we not ensuring that these products don't end up destroying families? Why are we not ensuring that these products don't disrupt the lives and development of our young people. Madam Speaker, while knowing these facts might prompt people to say that we should place a ban on e-cigarette products, I believe it would be totally unfair to still allow tobacco products which have the same effects to be used. However, the conundrum with e-cigarettes is that the amount of nicotine present in the e-liquids can be dramatically adjusted, which is why I propose, if the motion passes, during the drafting of these regulations, the government should implement a cap on the amount of nicotine present in the e-liquids.
Requiring a license to sell e-cigarettes, controlling the locations in which the use of e-cigarettes could be used. All these suggestions already mirror the tobacco law. But however, what I would say, why the government cannot treat these e-cigarettes like regular cigarettes is because the amount of nicotine in the e-liquid can be adjusted dramatically. Madam Speaker, furthermore, there are plans to issue a new business license for the trade of e-cigarettes. Currently, for businesses to sell tobacco, they need a business license as well as a tobacco license. I believe it should be a similar process for businesses to sell e-cigarettes. Having this license will enable the government to use a
Shock the government. They're staring and gaping at one another as though they are fish out of water. Madam Speaker, allow me to define proactive. It is defined as creating or controlling a situation by causing something to happen rather than responding to it after it has happened. I urge the government to do a temporary ban on all e-cigarettes until they have done a full research of the ramifications of e-cigarettes. Madam Speaker, e-cigarettes are new. The government wishes to implement these regulations that we all know they have no means or intention of enforcing and are waiting until the people of the Cayman Islands fully face the consequences of the use of e-cigarettes. By then, Madam Speaker, the use of e-cigarettes would have gone too far to initiate an effective ban. Madam Speaker, the United States recently announced plans to ban flavored e-cigarettes because of a rise in the number of middle and high school students using these products. A country of 327.2 million. A few days later, India's cabinet approved an emergency order banning the production, import, and sale of e-cigarettes. Those cigarettes are taking up e-cigarettes, which are available in over 1,500 flavors, including bubblegum and candy floss. Students, teens, my very classmates have reported the first product they have ever used was flavored, and that they use e-cigarettes because they come in flavor they like. Madam Speaker, a regulation that the government has suggested was an age limit. Yet, these flavors come in boxes and is decorated as snacks and candies advertised for 5-year-olds. So tell me, Madam Speaker, these flavors are sold to appeal to youth, like cotton candy, gummy bear, and cherry crush. They're all flavors we are all accustomed to. How, Madam Speaker, will the government regulate something that is marketed for the very age group that they are trying to restrict? Madam Speaker, I found, while preparing for today, doing extensive research on e-cigarettes, and what I found is that if at least one member from government researched what vaping entails, they would agree that a temporary ban is the best solution.
You have half a minute left.
Madam Speaker, under the standing orders, may I be obliged to 1 minute more, please?
You may finish your sentence.
Madam Speaker, what I have found is that several of these chemicals are toxic to cells, but what makes research into their safety difficult is that each product is very different, with the final composition of chemicals being determined by the temperature at which the vaping device heats them. In other words, the result is that different chemicals are produced using different flavors in different heat settings. It is generally accepted that e-cigarettes produce fewer of the toxin found in cigarette smoke. However, it is becoming increasingly apparent that this frame is not adequate to tell the entire story regarding individual health impacts. The most recent evidence suggests that e-cigarettes may pose their own unique health harms, and that comparison to cigarettes may not be the only.
The government is unable to prevent minors from smoking and consuming tobacco products like cigarettes. It seems as though the regulations in tobacco law are for show because they are not being enforced. It is hard to believe that the government will be able to regulate e-cigarettes when they can't efficiently do the same for other tobacco products. Madam Speaker, can you believe that there is no smoking age for cigarettes in Cayman? There is only a purchase age. The Tobacco Law of 2008, Section 10 states that no person...
Elected member for East End, please sit.
Madam Speaker, can the member of opposition please provide evidence that the government is not sufficiently regulating the tobacco law already?
Madam Speaker, point of order.
to a minor, and B, make available a tobacco product for consumption by a minor. And subsection 2 states, no minor shall buy a tobacco product for consumption.
None. Firstly, a vendors list to keep track of all businesses selling e-cigarettes be implemented. Secondly, how e-cigarettes are distributed be regulated. Madam Speaker, a vendors list is a document which records all vendors' corporate and personal data. A vendor is a person or company offering something for sale. An RFI, which is request for information, is a formal document which regulators would send out to each potential vendor, and this document would ask each vendor to respond to several inquiries so as to get an idea of which vendors are suitable. Madam Speaker, in order to implement a vendors list in the Cayman Islands, regulators would have to do the following. Firstly, they would have to send out an RFI to each vendor. In this RFI, it would request when the company began, what their strategy is.
U.S. that only a few basic things of the Cayman Islands. Madam Speaker, how do you plan to regulate this? How do you plan to regulate these vapes that are pens or in backpacks? Your pens, USBs, watches, devices built into hoodies, backpacks, markers. Madam Speaker, how does the government plan to regulate this? Madam Speaker, I have to put my speech down. This is unbelievable. My speech is not even worth this motion.
According to the elected member for Prospect, she stated that smoking shouldn't be treated like vaping. So, my answer to this is that...
Madam Speaker, point of order. That is not what the elected member of Prospect said, so can the honorable mover of the motion please withdraw what he said?
Point of, reply, Madam Speaker. Can you provide evidence of what your elected member of Prospect actually stated?
Madam Speaker, I present this article to the table.
Sergeant at Arms, that is to be given to me.
To clarify the rule, the member of Prospect said vaping should be treated as cigarettes. The mover of the motion said it should not be. He is incorrect here.
Madam Speaker, there was no point in time where I said point of reply. I was going to say point of order, but it's not a point of order. Therefore, I think,
You did say point of reply. I'm going to allow the mover of the motion to continue his reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Leader of Opposition, for the clarification. I will withdraw my statement. So, e-cigarette. Vaping should be one of our first priorities because unlike smoking itself, smoking has a fixed amount of materials that go into the smoking itself, meaning it cannot be manipulated in any way in terms of the... So, moving on to the opposition.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Can the elected
Mover of the motion, do you have any sources that you can bring to the table in regards to your research based on the black market?
I do not, Madam Speaker.
Can you withdraw your statement?
Yes. The deputy leader of opposition, the elected member for Georgetown, says that we have ignored the public and as well as humanity is more important than money. We as the government believe that since we are still in the early research times pertaining to vaping, that not enough research has gone.
Aye. Mr. David Tibbetts.
Aye.
Ms. Allison Flores.
Aye.
Mr. Zachary Allen.
Aye.
Honorable Rion Porter.
No.
Ms. Leah Robinson.
No.
Ms. Gabriella King.
No.
Madam Clerk? Before I proceed to the order of business, I would like to recognize Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of the Legislative.
Section 8 specifies that every person whose name appears upon the last register of electors is eligible to serve on the jury of court, and whereas in a recent political election in the Cayman Islands, there was a deficiency of young voters, and whereas the involvement of young persons in the political process is crucial to the future of the Cayman Islands, and whereas schools are not adequately educating students in the Cayman Islands with regards to political and parliamentary matters, and whereas at the age of 16, a person is more competent to vote and choose what they want for their country, and whereas the privilege...
The Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, the elected member for Georgetown West.
Madam Speaker, I beg to second private member's motion number 2 of 2020.
The motion has been duly moved and seconded. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Sign up and say, being to let 16-year-olds vote, that's absurd. They're still kids. They'll just follow their parents' decisions. They don't have the right mentality for that.
Foresee something that hasn't been
Madam Speaker, point of order. That is not a point. We have done the preparation. We are here today voicing our opinions. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if this display rate doesn't show you at the age of 16 or even before 16 that our youth are capable of acting, learning, and doing parliamentary actions, then think about all the 16-year-olds who have already left high school.
on why I am opposing the opposition's motion. It is stated in the opposition's motion that schools are not adequately educating students in the Cayman Islands with regards to political and parliamentary matters. I would like to state 3 arguments as it relates to this section of the opposition's motion. Firstly, how can the opposition offer to implement a course on politics in Parliament when majority of the private schools here have different systems from the public schools? Thirdly, there may be certain students who are not able to partake in this course due to certain restrictions and limitations being placed upon them. It is stated in another part of the opposition's motion that at the age of 16, a young person is more than competent to learn, vote, and choose what they want for their country. I would like to state an argument as it relates to this section of the opposition's motion. Firstly, the opposition cannot guarantee that majority, if not all, of the youth are eligible to vote.
Young people have voiced their opinions on subjects such as the port, LGBTQ rights, and the ban on single-use plastics. And Madam Speaker, I am sure they would have loved to voice their opinions on this recent fire at the landfill. This generation's reach is far greater than previous generations. That technology has given them accessibility and interconnectivity, and they're able to see what else is happening in the world. And worldwide, young people have taken the world.
One person, besides myself and my fellow colleagues on the opposition, is Greta Thunberg. If the government does not know who this is, then they really need to sit in the audience and not across from me. This young girl is actively fighting climate change by holding climate strikes. At her age, she has caught the attention of the UN and the President of the United States.
Speaker, I'd like to address the whereas which states, and whereas at the age of 16, a person is more than competent to vote and choose what they want for their country. Madam Speaker, I do not support this statement. Section 90 of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009 states that a person is eligible to be registered to vote if they are Caymanian and have attained the age of 18 years and are resident in the Cayman Islands at the date of registration, and 2 years out of the 4 years immediately preceding the date of registration, or on the date of the issue of a writ ordering an election where they are otherwise qualified to be registered to vote, but they have not attained the age of 18 years, but they will attain that age on or before the day of the election. There must be specific reasons why 18 is preferred age here in the Cayman Islands and in a lot of other countries. Madam Speaker, some people would say that 16-year-olds are mature enough to have the rights mindset to vote, and others would say that 16-year-olds aren't mature. I agree that they may take an interest in the leadership and governing of these islands, and that they have very strong arguments to put forward. But will they make the right decision in choosing a candidate? Sure enough, they are more than competent to sit and listen to candidates during their on the day of the election. They will overthink whether they're making the right choice. And yes, many would say at the age of 16, teens are still living with their parents and could potentially be influenced by them on who to vote for. Madam Speaker, I personally know a couple of people who were 18 at the time of previous elections and still living with their parents and were told who to vote for.
An argument like this can be reversed. Well, we can let them drive, we can let them drink. But 16-year-olds aren't mature enough to responsibly drink and make decisions without certain decisions without parental consent, but they are responsible enough to choose the country's next leader, a decision that affects the future and society. Madam Speaker, if 16-year-olds aren't viewed as mature or responsible enough to buy or drink alcohol or even buy certain products or make decisions for themselves in certain fields, then they are not mature enough to choose this country's next leader. And if it is maturity we're talking about, then we should be here in this honorable house today talking about raising the vote age instead of lowering it. As according to social scientists Cayman and Matthew Clayton, 16-year-olds would not be competent at the brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex, is still undergoing major reconstruction and development during these teenage years, and fully develops at the age of 25. And added that the prefrontal cortex is what enables us to weigh dilemmas, balance trade-offs, and in short, make responsible decisions. Madam Speaker, stated in the opposition motion is, whereas the privilege to vote differs from mandatory jury duty, as many young people may have the mental maturity to vote, but not to serve on a jury. 16-year-olds have the mental maturity to choose the country's next leader, but not to sit on a jury and make a conscious judgment, and may lack the full adult capabilities for long-term planning and thoughtful decision-making. That is why society rightly places limits on the rights of teenagers to consume alcohol and take part in other activities. We also acknowledge such reality when prosecuting teenagers for crimes they commit, enacting less harsh penalties than we do for adults. Madam Speaker, although not all but most 16-year-olds are either genuinely not interested in politics or aren't adequately educated on politics, and implementing a political high school course does not mean the youth will actually be interested in taking in such information for events such as voting
and racial injustice, and they are likely to support a candidate that prioritizes these issues over others. But as they are unable to vote on these issues, they usually remain unaddressed in parliamentary and government activities. The older generation, aged 30 and above, in contrast, Madam Speaker, prioritize issues such as tax.
The age remains at 18, as changing it would place an additional strain on the civil service. In particular, the elections office, which is already stretched close to or past its capacity. Furthermore, it would be a challenge to avoid outsourcing and backlog due to the need for verifying, inputting, and publishing the information for an additional demographic. This leads me, Madam Speaker, to the second result of the motion before us, which addresses the judicature law. This resolve is asking that anyone who is under the age of 18 not be selected or allowed to serve on the jury. I would just like to quickly remind the opposition and the listening audience that as it currently stands, only those who are in good standing with the law and on the register of electors can be a juror. Madam Speaker, based on the wording of this motion, I can only assume that opposition is being presumptuous in thinking that this motion will pass, and that the age of voting will change.
years of age to be registered as an elector. Likewise, I agree that Section 11 of the Electors Law states that a person must be 18 years of age to be registered to vote. And the same goes for the Judicial Law, in the sense that one must be on the register of electors to vote. Madam Speaker, with that being said, I believe that my colleagues on the other side do not fully grasp the magnitude of their request. Madam Speaker, we cannot just alter the constitutional order as we see fit.
Madam Speaker, the Premier said we are bringing the least politically informed persons. But this is not read our motion. We are bringing this political course so they can be informed. The Premier asking, are they mature enough to be serving the jury? And then she goes on to say, voting is the whole country, and juries is 1 or 2 persons. Madam Speaker, who's the very person here? The entire country. Voting is the entire country, and it is our country, so we should have a voice, while juries is 1 or 2 persons. Why should our team not listen to our politics and political speaking and decide who they want to vote for while sitting down listening to gruesome crimes about child molesters and all they support? Madam Speaker, as the Deputy Premier said, their minds are growing. Which one helps them grow? Listening to our political arguments or sitting down listening to votes about man killers? Madam Speaker, there's a difference between Madam Speaker, the Premier also said that they don't want to say no political high school boards. There's nothing to be interested about. That's like being interested in a plate of food that has no food on it. Madam Speaker, yet I have to acknowledge this fact. When it comes down to regulating e-cigarettes, all the government wants to say is the youth are our future. When it comes down to voting and giving our youth a chance to vote, they're all quiet like a mouse. Madam Speaker, after the Deputy Premier applauded our opposition members for our speeches, she went down to stand up and go against us. It's clear that she is confused. Madam Speaker.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. I was simply brushing off my skirt. Thank you.
You can't both be standing.
Madam Speaker, from applauding us to go against us, to brush off her skirt, she's trying to just brush off this motion. And Madam Speaker, we will not allow that. The Deputy Mayor said that the teams aren't capable of politics. They should focus on being in the proms and not the polls. Madam Speaker, this can be the same thing for women. A few years ago, men said,
Point of order. I did not say they should be focusing on the proms.
I said they should be in the proms.
Okay, all of you cannot be standing at the same time. Please sit down, Leader of the Opposition. Continue what you were saying.
The Honorable Leader of the Opposition clearly stated I said that they should be focusing on the proms when I did not say so.
Madam Speaker, I will not withdraw my statement due to the fact that I said the Deputy Mayor said that it should be in the proms and not the polls. And as I continue, this can be seen towards women. Because in the past years, they told women they should stay in the house and not the government. But look at the times, Madam Speaker, the times have changed. We have our own national hero, Ms. Sybil McLaughlin, our first Speaker of the House, changing that, pushing towards female voting. So why can't 16-year-olds push towards being able to vote and depend on what we could want in our country? Madam Speaker, the Attorney General said that we have to ask the UK for permission. If the UK can grant 16-year-olds the right to exit Brexit, then they most likely will give us the right for 16-year-olds to vote here. Madam Speaker, in the US, colleges and high schools, a political course in American history is mandatory. So why can't Cayman have it too? The government preached about all American this, all American that, in the US Congress in their motion, but yet can't preach it for us. Madam Speaker, that makes no sense. Madam Speaker, it is clear that the government does not want to pass this motion and their minds are so congested. That is why I have left forth and brought some pepto-bismol to clear their mind, Madam Speaker. And with that, I will thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I will ask the Honorable Leader of the Opposition to please be respectful and withdraw that statement.
I won't ask him to withdraw the statement. However, I will ask you, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, to be more respectful.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The question is, be it now resolved that this Honorable Youth Parliament considers changing the official voting age from 18 to 16 as of the next general election. Be it further resolved that this Honorable Youth Parliament considers amending the Judica Law so that anyone under the age of 18 cannot serve on a jury. Be it further resolved that this Honorable Youth Parliament considers implementing a mandatory course in high school that focuses on politics and parliament. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no.
No!
The noes have it.
Madam Speaker, can I have a division, please?
I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Madam Speaker, for the future of the Cayman Islands, can I have a division, please?
Madam Clerk, please take the division.
Honorable Chanel Martinez.
No.
Honorable Carolyn Reyes.
No.
Honorable Jamar Smith.
No.
Honorable Jasmine Robinson.
No.
Honorable Sharika McPherson.
No.
Honorable Marcus Lawrence.
No.
Honorable Christopher Ferrer Sanchez.
No.
Mr. David Tibbetts.
No.
Miss Allison Flores.
No.
Mr. Zachary Allen.
No.
Honorable Rion Porter.
Aye.
Miss Leah Robinson.
Aye.
Miss Gabriella King.
Aye.
Miss Zaria Truman.
Aye.
Miss Manusri Pabakar.
Aye.
Miss Naja Beach.
Aye.
Miss Crystal Garofalo.
Aye.
Madam Speaker, point of order.
Keila Turner.
The result of the division is 7 ayes and 10 noes with 1 absentee. Private Member's Motion number 2 of 2020, changing of the voting age from 18 to 16 years and implementation of a political high school course has failed. That concludes the proceedings of this Honorable 13th Youth Parliament. I will now call on the Honorable Premier to move a motion for the adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I move the adjournment of this Honorable 13th Youth Parliament, signed I. Madam Speaker, before you put the vote on the motion, I wish to express a vote of thanks. I would like to thank Mr. Andrew Perkins from the Truman Baldwin Law School, Ms. Gisette Lawrence from Toastmasters, Mr. Mapil Prasad from Toastmasters, who gave us pointers and constructive criticism on the delivery of our speeches, Mr. Jonathan Anglin from the Vaping Company, who provided us with some very useful information on vaping and e-cigarettes, the staff of the Legislative Assembly, including Ms. Zina Marin Chin, Ms. Davina Ramator, Ms. Deborah Broderick, Ms. Patricia.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the opposition, I would also wish thanks to Mr. James Gary, Youth Assembly, Mr. James Mel, Youth Assembly, Mr. Donovan Farrell, Deputy Clerk of the Court, Mr. Wesley Howell, Chief Elections Officer. I would also like to extend a personal thanks to all the parents that came out today, all the supporters in the stands, and I would also like to big up some of my opposition members, Leah, Gabrielle King, Zaria, Manu, Naja, Crystal, and I'd also like to big up some of the opposition members, the government members, Chanel, Carolyn, Jamar, Jasmine, Sharika, Marcus, Christopher, Maxwell, Lori, Zachary, Allison, David. I got them all right. I would also like to thank Mr. Kenneth Brian Davis, Ms. Zina Murray for providing us, and the also CPA body, Ms. Barbara Chin, and I would also like to thank God for letting us to be here today. Thank you.
The motion is that this Honorable 13th Youth Parliament does stand adjourned, signing that. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, no. The ayes have it. This Honorable 13th Youth Parliament now stands adjourned, signed aye.
I just want to say it was a great pleasure for me this morning to take part in the session, to watch you all going through your presentations, and again I think that this youth parliament idea is such a fantastic way for our young people to train for the future, gain experience, and those skills about public speaking are so important as life skills, and I know you will all gain so much out of this. I listened to quite a bit of the debate about e-cigarettes. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay for the one on voting, and I understand that was even more impassioned, so I wish I had been there for that. But let me just say congratulations to all of you. I thought the performances this morning were fantastic, and I know some of our existing MLAs are looking nervously on at the talent that is coming up behind them. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.